All right. Have you guys? I'm not even gonna go on today at all. Yes, sort of. Have you guys ever seen the bug life? A bug life?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It wasn't. I wasn't polling. I was just asking. All right. The bug life. I think it's the beginning of that movie. Yeah, that's it. That's it. The beginning of that movie. Didn't they have two little bugs, little like flies, and they were just flying around? They were literally looking for poop. They were just flying around all. And then suddenly, like one of them saw the blue light. Remember the blue light that, like, I think. Okay, I'm gonna make up their names. It was Fred and like Tom. But then, yeah. Man. All right. So Tom is headed. Okay, I'm not. Turn it off. All right. So Tom is totally. He saw the light. He's looking at the light, and he's attracted by the light. He's just totally flying at the light. I was gonna look for the clip, but I don't know if it was in Bug's Life or in some other bug movie. But anyway, so Tom is totally going for the light, while Fred is like, "Don't look at the light!" And he's grabbing his little legs and like yanking and pulling and trying to flap his little wings backwards. Totally not working. Tom's flying towards the light. Eventually, like, you know what happens? He totally gets fried. And then good old Fred just like, "Oh man, I tried to pull you away," and then he just flies away. In thinking about that, today's subject is sin. That's what I'm talking to you guys about. And that's totally what happens with sin. That's exactly what happens with just sin in your life. The first time you're flying around and you're not looking for poop, but you're flying around just admiring the world, and you're like, you know, I'm flying around with my little wings. I'm looking and, oh look, there's a baseball, so you go play baseball. Hey, there's gymnastics, you go do gymnastics. Hey, there's track, you go do track. Whatever, you're just going around. You're doing your little thing. And then there's something attractive out there that you're like, ooh, that looks really nice, but I probably shouldn't touch it because I know it's going to kill me. Do you think those flies don't communicate? They all know. They all know that that little light is going to zap them. I mean, my light bulb, I have a light bulb outside that, you know, just one of those light bulbs right outside my porch. And it is always surrounded by dead bugs because they come to the light bulb, they touch the heat, and they die. So I'm sure they've, at one point or another, communicated with one another saying, hey, the light is attractive, but don't touch it because then you fry. So while I'm looking at that and I'm looking at Bug's Life and I'm trying to think about the story, sin is just like that. You think, you're looking at the light and you're like, oh, it's so pretty. And you're looking at it way over here, right? And you think, oh, well, I'm so far back, it's not going to hurt me to come just a little bit closer. So you move a little closer to the sin. You move a little bit closer to that light that's going to take you out. And then you come a little closer because you're like, oh, it's so nice. I want to move forward. So then you do it again. So you slowly keep moving forward. And eventually it zaps you. So that's pretty much, I summed up the message right there. But I have a couple of little points that I want to get to you guys. The first point is, sin has results. Period. Sin has results. Guys, sin does not just, oh, well, let me just sin and nothing will happen. Honestly, it does eat you up. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entices us and drives us away. These desires give birth to sinful action. And when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Literally, it gives birth to sinful actions, and then sin is allowed to grow. Guys, there's a process. Just like that bug in Bug's Life was getting closer to the sin, it didn't just instantly zap him. It didn't take him out from 10 miles away. It didn't instantly take him out. It was allowed to grow. That bug was attracted to it and didn't listen to his homie Fred pulling him back saying, hey, let's go. No, stop looking at the light. Don't look at the light. Just don't look at the light and you'll be fine. No. he allowed the sin to grow. And that gives birth to death. Guys, there's a spiritual death that happened. When Eve first ate the apple and then Adam followed it through. There was a spiritual death that happened. And this is probably what the thought was when they ate it. They thought, well, I didn't die, but man, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. They hid from God. And like I spoke 2 weeks ago about this, saying, if you hide from God, he's just waiting there for you to cry out to him and tell him, hey, I'm over here, please help me. So, the point before that, go ahead and bring that back up. Don't allow sin to grow in your life. And again, sin starts off so small, guys. I was talking with a friend of mine upstairs, and I said, you know, how do you most of the time start off sin in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? And I stated this. I said, well, you first blow it when you start making out. That's how you start, just blowing it. And then he's like, no, bro. You blow it more than likely when you start googling eyes each other. And you're like, ooh, hey. When you're totally like, you know, eyeballing the person. Where's my wife? I feel weird eyeballing you guys. I was like looking around to see if I could eyeball, and I'm like, no, I'm not even going to eyeball any of you guys. That's just weird. But anyway, totally. No, go ahead, sit down. Again, sin starts off usually, no joke, very innocent. You think it's like, oh, well, I'll just do this one thing. It won't lead to anything. It won't do anything. I'll just start talking to this one dude and I'll be fine. Or, you know, I could handle this relationship. Or I can handle this girl. You know, she's always wanting to hold my hand and she's always trying to rub my back. But no, I can handle it. I'm good. Or, hey, I can hang out with my friends that get high. I'm going to go there and not get high with them. I promise. Or I'm going to go to a party that they're serving beer and I'm totally going to be there and be like, you know what, Jesus is good. Guys, I'm not saying that a party is bad. I'm not saying that going to a party is sinful at all. I am not saying that. I am not saying, and I'm willing to say this. I am not saying having a girlfriend or a boyfriend is a sin. I am not saying that. I'm not saying being on the internet is a sin. Shoot, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of research on the internet. I'm not saying that's a sin. But if you're not careful, it can become a sin. That conversation that you have late night on the phone.
Well, those are no good.
That, again, I am not saying that it's a sin, but you're playing with it. You are Tom, looking at the little light and saying, ooh, I'll just get a little closer to the light and it won't burn me. I'm not going to get that close. A buddy of mine told me this. You know how they always have that analogy of the cliff and how close are you going to get to the cliff before you fall off? Have you guys ever stood near a cliff? It's pretty darn scary. Even when you're like just right close to it, it's scary. 10 feet back, you're like, wow, that's still scary. Guys, don't play with that line. Don't play with that line. Sin has results. There has not been a sin out there. There has not been a sin that does not have a consequence. It may not be an immediate consequence, but it might be later. It might be when you're dealing with your spouse. It might be when you're trying to stop your addiction to smoking or drinking. Again, sin starts at very small and most of the time innocent ways. Just be very careful about it.